Check one, check two. This is G coming straight at you from a cold, wet and windy north of Scotland. I miss the warm European summers. I miss the sitting outside in the town square, watching life walk by, wondering who you're going to see, ordering a long, cool, cold beer and just letting the conversation flow. Sometimes you wonder if the good old days are going to come back, don't you? You wonder if we'll see those times again. You wonder what's on the other side of these trying days and these difficult decisions. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you push forward and look for the next opportunity, which is what I think we should all be doing right now. Now, when I started this little series of chats, I had no idea that I would be doing it a month later. And still pushing back against the same insanity, the same nonsense, the same madness. Although we are starting to see the tide turn ever so slightly, stay home has become stay alert. But then stay alert for what, right? For something that you can't see. It's just replacing one level of insanity with another, just to see who will follow the orders, just to see who the good little soldiers are. If you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, and there's so much information now. The short presentation I did yesterday was basically just one article, and I have 4 articles like that I want to cover, and to cover each one takes about an hour. It's crazy. And then not only are those articles important for understanding the background of where we are and how we got here, I was also pointed towards resources available that are called the Kovat Papers. The Kovat Papers. Now they come in 4 parts, and they are a series of written, documented evidences. It's the plan part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. If you're watching the video version, you can see these. Each section has about 50 pages of documentation that is absolutely essential. So if you're interested, right, and you want to be involved in your due diligence, right, if you're interested, then you need to read this. Whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant. You need to read. So I don't even know how I'm going to get through that. I mean, there's 10 hours of documentation and presentation, probably in just one of these papers. So we're talking 10, 20, 30, maybe 30 hours altogether if you condense it a little bit. And then you've got the other articles. I mean, I could give a 24-hour presentation non-stop on all the details and information and documentation that I have. That this is not an unplanned situation that we're experiencing. That this has been in the works for a long period of time. The international banks have known, the insurance companies have known. That's why there has been policies of vertical integration for the last few years. Look at what happened November, December in the stock markets. Who sold what, where, why, and when. The people knew that this was coming. They knew. It was one of those open secrets. In fact, if you understand how to listen carefully to the chatter on the internet, or the internets, or the intranets, or the dark nets, then you know, right? Then you know. It's a puzzle. And you have to take the pieces and fit them together as best as you know how. This is life, right? This is life. My name's G. I represent the Academy. I'm pumping out information on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and several other platforms. Feel free to join in the discussion. One of the things that I wanted to point out at the beginning was it's really, really hard to keep track of what has been covered in these presentations and what hasn't been covered. And in addition to that, I also feel it's necessary to repeat some pieces of information because they slip through, and not everybody remembers everything anyway. What are the statistics? Like, you remember 80% of what happened yesterday, and then you only remember the next day 80% of that 80%? Or is it 20%? Right. It's the other way around, isn't it? You forget 80%, right? That's well, it's not you forget, your brain sidelines it. It filters the irrelevancy into the subconscious mind. So, where to begin? Always at the beginning. On my Facebook feed, you will find all of the things that I'm talking about. Oh, and Facebook have a new feature available to some people, Messenger Rooms, which gives you the opportunity to go live in communication and discussion with people on your Facebook page. That is an extremely powerful tool and a very good reason to make sure that you post carefully and don't get yourself banned, because I'm not saying that you need to censor yourself, although at the same time self-censorship is the worst form of censorship. I'm saying be intelligent about it, right? It's a game. Learn the rules, play the game. Learn the rules, play the game. Yep. Ronald Reagan gave a speech in 1964 talking about exactly what was going to happen and talking about all the things that modern culture has just forgotten, the origins of the United States, the freedoms of the United States, the important ideas that were brought forth. Um, we do forget a lot, and as a result, we do need to be reminded. There was a great post by Martin May, who ran a commentary over the British government's ridiculous new rules that they've introduced. You have to wonder if these ministers have any relationship to reality at all. By the way, have you seen how unhealthy the health ministers look? Like, when was the last time you saw a health minister and you're like, woo, yeah, they're obviously exercising regularly and, getting nutrition and sunlight and looking good, right? Isn't that bizarre, right? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that what you'd want from a health minister? It's like setting the right kind of example. Meanwhile, setting the right kind of example is White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. She is on fire right now, and is the perfect mix of everything that the left hates. She's a beautiful Christian conservative who is eloquent with her words and not afraid to punch back. Anyway, yeah, hashtag OBAMAGATE if you haven't worked it out yet. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. A lot of stuff. And to a certain extent, the pushback is working. Great video from One American News Network about lockdown myths. It was posted by Liz Wheeler. Check it out. Bring it on. One American News Network. Tipping Point program. Top 5 myths. So I'm just throwing out the references. Go and, check it out for yourself, right? There's a lot of good stuff. Look around. Communicate with people. This whole situation was designed to shut down communication. Boris Johnson gave a really interesting speech where he talked about inequality being essential and the place of eugenics in society. I imagine that the system doesn't want you to watch that, so I imagine that you should. You'll find that under Mirror Politics, dated 10th of December 2019. Subtext described as absolutely terrifying. Well, it does show you where the non-essential principles come from. Nothing new for the Hellfire Club. Nothing new for the brains behind the business. Meanwhile, the BBC did a good job for once, allowing on to question time a gentleman who actually has the same opinion as the majority of the public, right? Pointing out that at the moment, just as many people drown in Britain as will die from the coronavirus. You've got to bring it. You've got to hit it home with statistics and data that just highlight the complete absurdity. The government is causing it. It's the problem is not caused by the virus or disease. The problem is caused by government. Government is the virus. Government is the disease. And they're causing the biggest recession probably in British history. And the lockdown is already causing more deaths than the virus itself. When are we going to hold the people in power accountable for this? When? Anyway, the gentleman who presents the people's perspective is Luke Johnson, a businessman who talks about mass unemployment and collateral damage from the lockdown. Meanwhile, on the other side of town in Cuba, they're doing things a little bit differently, right? Cuba will shortly begin distributing a new medication, Prevengov-IR, or Prevengovir, I don't know, whatever, a homeopathic immunological booster amongst the island's population to help prevent viral infections like COVID-19 and other common flus, Dr. Francisco Duran, Director of Epidemiology, announced on Sunday. In the daily press briefing on the state of COVID-19 in Cuba, Dr. Duran explained Prevengovir is a sublingual preparation which has first been applied to risk groups in isolation centers, elderly, mother and infant homes, and hospitals caring for positive and suspected COVID-19 patients. Homeopathic. Yeah, you don't hear the news talking about hydroxychloroquine and zinc, do you? You don't hear them talking about the need for vitamin D, do you? Oh well. It is what it is. You know, it's interesting. Mother and infant homes. What's a mother and infant home? Why do you test it on the at-risk first? Wouldn't that be dangerous? I don't know. Anyway, subtitled Cuba, the country that dares to be wise. This report by Gil Graham can be found at www.consultanthomeopath.com. Thank you. That's Zora in the background, who is what is she doing? She's doing her Roblox thing. That's what she's doing. Right. Those that know me know I have several different podcasts. This week, the Maiden Murray podcast is focusing on the work of a local businessman and consultant. If you're interested in getting business perspectives, then I recommend you check it out. You know, follow me on social media and you'll get a daily dose of something to think about. Something to think about. Something to talk about. Meanwhile, the left and the right march in time, forever butting heads and in general causing chaos. But it's the Hegelian dialect, so you need two legs in order to get anywhere. But it's a very interesting article about hashtag OBAMAGATE because I think it's a battle that no one wins, but it's still interesting to watch. Go read the great article. Could spend 45 minutes on it, but I'm not. Spectator.org, A Time to Hate. To everything there is a season, and to every time a purpose. Right. How do we get through? How do we get around? What do we do? Well, step 1, replace fear with logic. Step 2, replace hate with love. Right? We're not going to get through this if we don't have love as a fundamental, integral part of everything that is going on. Gotta let love in, let love rule. It's because that's the most natural state of being, right? Anything else is a diversion, really. That's what it is. And it begins with teaching the kids the right messages by respecting the children. Yeah, the only way to teach kids respect is to show kids Respect. Never reject it. Never reject the need for respect. Right? And as usual, health is wealth, right? Health is wealth. You keep yourself healthy, you lead by example, you keep your family healthy, you make sure everybody gets their vitamins and minerals. You have to have zinc on a daily basis. Right now, it's not difficult. You can order it, Amazon, eBay, other kinds of delivery. Bring it to your door. No excuses. No excuses, people. It's time. It's time to get back to work. It's time to do our jobs. It's time to move forward. It's time to see beyond government. It's time to end the passivity. It's time for peaceful resistance. It's time to be honest about the predicament. Be honest. See all these people out there wearing masks? What's that about? You know, wearing a mask doesn't protect you. Wearing a mask protects the government. It's a sorry realization, but it's the truth. You know, most people are not wearing a mask out of some noble notion that you're doing your part in protecting anyone from anything. You're wearing a mask for one of two reasons. First, you're a sheep. You're just conforming to what everyone else is doing. Second, because you bought the manufactured fear they sold you about this mysterious virus. Remember, the virus is real, but the reaction is false and fake. You're not a hero saving the day if you wear a mask. You're perpetuating the insane notion that being fearful and sacrificing freedom somehow makes you righteous in your own mind. Yep. How quickly people become legends in their own minds. Yep. They do. So seek the truth. Because the greater guilt is not in telling a lie, but in the omission of what you know to be right, to be moral, and to be true. And for God's sake, use some logic, right? Use some logic. Stop and think. Imagine, well, here's an example for you, right? Imagine this scenario, that no one should be allowed to drive again until there are no fatal accidents for 14 consecutive days. Imagine that. How ridiculous that would be. Then we can slowly begin to phase in certain classes of people and cars who can begin driving again. But we'll start with a lower speed limit at first. Remember, save lives. Save lives. Fear is the disease for a lot of people. Fear is the disease. It is fear that keeps you at work, fear that keeps you at home, fear that keeps you paying the bills, fear that prevents you from speaking and cuts off the conversation before it even begins. And fear of fear, right? Hey, how does it feel being stuck at home? How does it feel to be a rat that was once free, being tricked back into your own cage? How does that feel? Welcome back to 1984. Oh yeah. Advice. You want some advice? Here's advice from the government to parents about the new school sessions. You need to stay next to your kids during Zoom meetings with their class. If your child says they have COVID, the teacher will report this to a nurse, and the nurse will call and ask questions. This person spoke at length with a local nurse about what would have been done, or what would be done, if a child had this. And the idea that you can tell from a distance is just ridiculous. You know, the phoning your doctor is as useful as phoning a car mechanic, right? Or phoning the optician and asking them what's wrong with your eyes, right? It is just silly. So what they're doing basically is everything is being reported now for tracing purposes. All information, snitching, the word snitch has been replaced with the word trace because it's cooler, right? Did you know the state of Minnesota, hello, where they own ya. The state of Minnesota, it's a state, has over 400 volunteer tracers, people to do it voluntary, who will ask you who you've been in contact with and set up services for you so that you no longer have to think for yourself. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's coming. It's coming. And there's no logic in it. Now that the economy has crashed, the government will have to create new government economies. Oh yeah. Because the real economy is toast right now. If you're watching the video version, you can see empty malls and halls. Yep. You know. Places and spaces where people should be. Football stadiums, empty. Schools, empty. Shops, empty. Streets, empty. Gyms, empty. Yet, 15,000 people fly into Britain every day. Oh yeah. And 50,000 drive. New York City is empty. Everyone is gone. The Oculus is a major hub for tourist shopping and high-end eateries. It's empty. It's empty. Right? What do you think is going on? Do you think there's no agenda behind this? Really? Really? Do you think that? Do you think there's no agenda? Well, some people have worked it out. You know, those that have been abused for years. Well, some of them have woken up quite recently. BBC.co.uk reported from the BBC World Service in Africa, Burundi orders the World Health Organization officials to leave the country. And they're not the first African country to do this. Comment is hopefully the West can follow Africa's lead and not participate in the corruption of the lockdown, which is what it is, right? The World Economic Forum is one of the many organizations, along with World Bank, supporting the World Health Organization in its advice to countries not to follow the rule of law. Europe and the US need to take a look at themselves, their political leaders, and the grim reality. Yep. Funny, isn't it? Funny. Funny how Europe's least corrupt leader turned out to be a communist dictator. That's a reference to Belarus. Meanwhile, the CARE Act, which was the 2 $3 trillion to support the economy and economies and the people of the United States was actually introduced as a bill in January 2019. 2019. Go and check it out for yourself. You can find it. HR 748, the CARES Act, was introduced a year before the virus appeared. Yeah, I don't know what it all means. I can tell you what I think it means. Right? It means that people are not thinking. I mean, really, if there was a real pandemic, would buses and trains and undergrounds be running? Would the big businesses still be allowed to function? Right? 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 And have you seen those videos where people are walking around these department stores and these supermarkets? They're spraying the products with something. What are they spraying on the products? What is that stuff? Does anyone know? Do the people even spraying it know what it is? Right? Maybe it's just another form of Roundup. Right? Yep. That was an Orwellian name, wasn't it? Keep an eye out online as well for the videos of nurses and what the nurses are saying, what the doctors are saying, what the people on the front line are saying. And if you want further evidence, go and ask people you know who are nurses and doctors. Go and find out what's going on. Go and hashtag visit your local hospital, not to cause a problem, not to get in the way, just to ensure that we all know what's going on. Due diligence, right? That's what it's all about. And meanwhile, we have the normalization of insanity. Excuse me. Everybody with their colorful masks on. Masks, interesting, isn't it? If you look at the way society has observed the concept of masks, a lot of criminals wear masks, right? Think about those films. Think about Friday the 13th. Or even those comic book DC Marvel films, right? A lot of criminals wear masks. Oh yeah, but the good guys wear masks too. Spider-Man and Batman and... Yeah, but it's all training, isn't it? It's all the normalization of something which isn't normal. That's how it works. Your brain is conditioned so that when the idea finally arrives, you're like, oh, I've seen that before somewhere. Yep, and the fashion houses get involved, and you've got ones in all colours, and special artists are getting involved, and photo spreads and appearing, and it's being used in marketing, and yeah, you can learn to love your tyranny, right? You can learn to love the oppression. Remember those papers I told you about at the start, the Kovat Papers? Go and read them. Go and read them. Information will heal the nation, right? Information. Learn, but then you don't want to learn. People don't want to learn because knowledge is responsibility, and responsibility is difficult, right? This is difficult for so many people. You'd rather listen to Bill in his pink shirts, and 'cause he would never hurt anybody and couldn't do anything wrong. You think? You think? Great Game India reported, based on intercepted human intelligence reports, a controversy has erupted in Nigeria whereby #Bill Gates is accused of offering Nigerian House of Representatives a $10 million bribe for the speedy passage of a forced vaccination program. 20 to 1, Bill. 20 to 1, Bill. Those are the profits. 20 to 1. Oh yeah. And you still trust this man? Really? 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 You trust this man who says we need to extend the lockdown? Who died and made you God, Bill? Right? Who died and made you God? Who died and gave you the right to create this ridiculous situation where the freedom of the healthy depends on the diseases of the sick? We're in big trouble. But the people say, stay at home, shut everything down. Really? 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 Are you aware of the knock-on effects? Of the economic knock-on effects? Are you aware of what happens in the third world when the first world collapses? Or, is that just beyond your ability to comprehend? How many children should starve in order to make you feel safe? How many families must go bankrupt in order to make you feel safe? How many business owners should lose everything they've worked for in order to make you feel safe? How many people have to lose their jobs, their health insurance, their life savings to make you feel safe as you drive around in your car with your mask on? What's the number? Yeah? Come up with a number. Give me a number. How many people should surrender their lives for your feelings, your ideas, your interests, your safety, your inability to study the facts of the situation, your false reality, your imaginations, right? Do you have dreams or do you have nightmares? How well do you sleep? Nightmares. Zora says that sometimes she has nightmares, right? Did you have a nightmare last night?
No dreams.
You had a dream last night?
No dreams.
No dreams last night. Sometimes it's hard to remember the dreams. I think that we all have dreams all the time. We just don't always tune in to the fact that the dream is there. Sometimes you wake up and you forget the dream, right? You wake up and things happen and the dream, you remember it for a couple of seconds and then whoosh, the dream's gone, right? You remember now. You had a dream, yeah? What was your dream? Hmm? Or we can talk about it after I do my presentation, yeah? Because it's probably going to involve rainbows and unicorns and characters from Fortnite and your brother and sister. No, none of those. Okay, I got I got it all wrong. I don't know anything, right? Um, Meanwhile, if you're interested in business, you can pick up a copy of my second business and personal development book. Just a reminder that it's one of the 3 that are out at the moment. The Laws of Leadership. It covers the need to break rules and patterns to find a path to success. 100 strategies for individuals and organizations. Drop me a message and I'll send you a free copy, because why put a payment barrier there? I don't know. I'd rather get it in your hands, and if you get some value out of it, give me something back, right? And therein lies the contradiction, where sometimes when people give you stuff for free, you don't appreciate it and respect it as much. Um, but whatever, right? I could say to somebody, hey, give me £20 or £30 for this, and then because they've invested the money in it, they respect it more and they actually read it. I don't know, the human mind is an entanglement sometimes. An entanglement. What we think is logical, what we think is, there's a difference between what we think is real and what is actually real. Let me give you an example. The CDC, the organization that advises the American government and sometimes is in control of policy, the CDC is not an independent agency. Just like the Federal Reserve is not federal and it doesn't have any reserves, right? The CDC is not an independent agency. It's a vaccine company. The CDC owns over 20 vaccine patents, and it sells about $4.6 billion of vaccines every year. A quote from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yep, that's the world that we live in. The reality, the new reality. Don't accept the new normal, Keep what works, change what doesn't. Yep, that's the way to live. Find your own place and space. Get away from it all for a while. If you need to, find your own place and space. Just get away from it all. We all need to take a break, right? You can't fight everything forever. Excuse me. And the only limit is you. Your only limit is you. You and the environment you put yourself in, and your imagination. Other people are going to limit you. Don't limit yourself. Right? Don't limit yourself. And if you need to, break the rules. Rules are there to be followed, but only until they need to be changed. There are times when every rule must be broken. Don't you know? Right? What's that old saying? Rules are made to be broken. To a certain extent. There's some truth in that. Right? Look at how it's interesting. Look at how any sports evolve. They always try to keep the number of rules involved in the game as simple, as limited as possible, because the less rules you have, the more that things can flow. Of course, people will try to cheat, but right? Haters gonna hate. That's what they're gonna do. Haters gonna hate. Yep. Meanwhile, an article I came across from 2014 in the Guardian Opinions, Guardian.com. The article was, the ultimate goal of the NSA is total population control. This was an interview with, I think it's William Binney, who was a former intelligence officer. Brave man with a lot to say. And you think that these things are still happening by chance, by accident, right? No, it's always been going on. On the 5th of July, William Binney spoke at a conference in London organised by the Centre for Investigative Journalism. And he revealed the extent of the surveillance programs unleashed by the Bush and Obama administrations. Hashtag OBAMAGATE. At least 80% of fiber optic cables globally go via the US, Binney said. This is no accident and allows the US to view all communication coming in. All communication. At least 80% of all audio calls, not just metadata, are recorded. At least 80% of all audio calls are recorded and stored in the US. The NSA lies about what it stores. And that's the job of an intelligence agency. Unfortunately, in the modern world, the job of the agency is to lie. The NSA will soon be able to collect 966 exabytes a year. I don't know how big that is, but that's a lot. The total of internet traffic annually. Former Google head Eric Schmidt once argued that the entire amount of knowledge from the beginning of humankind until 2003 amounts to only 5 exabytes. Wow. Binney, who featured in the 2012 short film by Oscar-nominated US filmmaker Laura Poitras, described a future where surveillance is ubiquitous and government intrusion unlimited. The ultimate goal of the NSA is total population control, Binney said. But I'm a little optimistic with some recent Supreme Court decisions, such as law enforcement mostly now needing a warrant, such as law enforcement mostly now needing a warrant before searching a smartphone. Really? Do you think they care? He praised the revelations and bravery of former NSA contractor Edward Snowden and told the interviewer that he had indirect contact with a number of other NSA employees who felt disgusted with the agency's work. They're keen to speak out but fear retribution and exile, and probably death as well, not unlike Snowden himself, who is likely to remain there for some time. Yep. And then again, sometimes they let the leaks out because it relieves a little bit of pressure in the system. And it is a system. It's a system of information which is constantly pumped out. And the people, they're left to try to defend themselves against it. And the information is at all levels, right? In all areas, in all magazines, in all newspapers, in all books, on all net sites. It's an information war. It's an information overload as well. And don't forget the fact they go for the kids, right? They go for the kids. Did you know the European Union produced a comic called Infected? You can't write this. This was reported in express.co.uk. EU-funded comic predicted deadly pandemic escaping China. Guess who saves the day? Oh yeah. Government. Government saves the day, right? Synopsis. As the infections popped up across the world, bosses from the EU's Commission, Parliament and Council eventually claimed credit for bringing the disease under control. They proclaimed to have been at the forefront of a global effort to find a vaccine which kept the worldwide death toll below just 1 million. But they were only able to act with the help of a time traveler who came back in time to warn about the pandemic that had claimed almost 1 billion victims in the future. He befriended Chan Wenling, of course, whose boss at the Chinese lab passed on the deadly disease to an unsuspecting journalist and worked to convince people to act together in order to save lives. Came out of China. Interesting. In another parallel to the real-life pandemic, their efforts to save the day were, however, almost thwarted by a crooked official who wants to cover up the leak from the laboratory. He uses the disease to seize control of democracy by implementing draconian social distancing rules and engineering phony vaccines. Wow. Wow. The fictional publication, Infected, was released by the EU Commission's Internal Cooperation and Development arm. While the story bears an uncanny resemblance to the coronavirus pandemic, it was released as an educational tool. Yes, it's got nothing to do with predictive programming at all. Nothing at all. No. Like all those films with people wearing masks. Nothing at all. Right? Remember, criminals wear masks, right? Have you ever seen what a person in a biological lab has to wear in order to go to work, right? Do you know how many times doctors have to change their gloves? It's like 10 times an hour or something. Yeah. Do you know why they wear masks? Do you have any idea? Just go to Wikipedia and have a look at surgical masks. Read about it. LosAngeles.cbslocal.com reports robberies increased by 50%. Suspects using face covering in order not to be recognized. So basically everyone that walks into the shop looks like a criminal. You can't write this. Pointing a gun right at a gas station clerk, the article reads, a man in a traffic vest and ball cap demanded money as his accomplice wearing a mask grabbed the cash. We're sitting here not knowing who's going to walk in through the door, the owner said. The thieves, who did not initially raise the clerk's suspicion due to local orders for face coverings in light of the coronavirus pandemic, took off in a silver Nissan Altima last Friday at 2 a.m. Kwan said he had never seen anything like it in his 17 years since he's run his Santa Ana gas station and convenience store. He said local face covering requirements put his staff in danger. It's horrible, he said. I mean, I know we have to take certain measures because of what's happening, but it's the perfect script or manual for a robber. The mask, the sunshade, and a hoodie. You don't know who's coming, who's walking in. Yep, no transparency. Kwan and his staff feel so unsafe that he has cut his hours from being open all night to closing at 10 p.m. A 25% hit to his bottom line. He also added signs at his store prohibiting hoodies, backpacks, and handbags. Yep, because we're all criminals now, right? We're all criminals. We're all criminals. We're all monkeys strapped to walls that can be tested on. Because they're not testing things on animals anymore, are they? They're testing things on people. They're just like bypassing the tests on animals. Oh, we test these drugs on people because we're fast-tracking everything. We don't know what the results are going to be, but good luck. TruthTheory.com. Article by John Vibes. It's obviously not a real name. Leaked video shows monkeys, cats, dogs being tortured in pharma testing lab. Yeah, and you think these people care, right? You think these people care. What a mistake. To think they care for people more than they care for monkeys is a big mistake. The worst treatment was kept for the monkeys. The breeds of monkeys are small, relatively light primates, which are often used for animal experiments at this specific laboratory. They are kept in cramped conditions in small cages. Many of the animals have developed compulsive tendencies and are seen going around in circles, much like people on bicycles around here, I think. The footage released to the media was 8 minutes in length and showed numerous animals being poisoned by various chemicals and drugs, so the lab workers could estimate what a safe dosage for humans might be. Just enough, right? Just enough. But don't worry. Don't worry, government's coming to save you with the dogs of war. There's an advertisement from the government. Sniffer dogs being trialed for coronavirus testing. They're going to get dogs to sniff out whether you've got the virus now. Because this is scientific, right? Whatever next? Whatever next? Look, dogs have skills, I get it, but, you know, let's train them to do nice things like help people, shall we? Not to sniff out the invisible enemy. Right? 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 As if that's not enough, okay? So with social distancing in restaurants, they're replacing people with mannequins and dummies. Guardian.com reports model companions. Yep, just to make it look like the restaurants and the cafes are full. They're using dummies. Just because this shit is not insane enough already, right? With the idea that guests may feel lonely eating in a restaurant that can only reach 50% capacity, the maximum mandated by Virginia's social distancing regulations, the restaurant will be placing mannequins throughout its dining rooms. When we needed to solve the problem of social distancing and reducing our restaurant's occupancy by half, the solution seemed obvious. Fill it with interestingly dressed dummies. Patrick O'Connell, the star chef who heads the restaurant, told a Fox 5 DC local news station, "I've always had a thing for mannequins. They never complain about anything, and you can have lots of fun dressing them up." Are these people adults? I don't know. What have we come to? Where are we? Where are we at? I mean, this virtual insanity is our reality. What else can I say? As the sun pokes its head out from behind the clouds, and there's a little bit of blue visible, and the day brightens up, I think that's enough. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I wish you a fantastic day, and keep your head up, keep swimming, you know, do right. Stay safe, as they say. Stay alert. Could be anywhere. It's wartime conditions. It's wartime conditions, people. Right. Yeah, take care of yourself. Look after the people around about you. And remember, as always, don't forget to tell the ones you love that you love them. Speak to you soon.